Imagine this. Late afternoon, that familiar craving for something crunchy appears. You want the satisfying snap and the salty hit, but not the sugar, starch, and regret that come with most snacks. Now picture a tray of golden, crispy crackers cooling on your counter. No wheat, no added sugar, essentially zero net carbs. Just pure, guilt-free crunch that supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. Today's recipe delivers exactly that. Zero carb crackers that are easy, cheap, and ridiculously tasty. Here's the promise. In a few minutes, with basic ingredients and one baking sheet, you'll create a batch of crackers that stay crisp, taste amazing, and work perfectly for weight loss or a clean, low-carb lifestyle. Everything here is simple to follow and designed for consistent results, even if this is your first time baking anything at all. Let's frame the problem quickly. Most store-bought, healthy, crackers are still loaded with refined starches, seed oils, and fillers that spike appetite. Even the gluten-free versions can be heavy on rice flour, potato starch, or tapioca, ingredients that raise blood sugar and lead to cravings. The solution is to make your own with real food ingredients, so you control taste, texture, and nutrition. Ingredients you'll need: 1 cup, 100 g, shredded light mozzarella, 1 cup, 90 grams, finely grated Parmesan, 1 cup, 100 g, almond flour, or very finely ground peanuts, 2 tablespoons, 30 grams, cream cheese, room temperature, 1 large egg, 1/4 teaspoon fine salt. Adjust to taste, optional boosters. 1 teaspoon dried rosemary or oregano, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon paprika or chili flakes. Equipment checklist: mixing bowl, spatula or spoon, rolling pin, 2 sheets of parchment, baking tray, pizza cutter or sharp knife, wire rack for cooling. An oven thermometer is helpful if your oven tends to run hot or cold. Preheat your oven to 360 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius. Line your tray with parchment. This matters. Parchment prevents sticking, helps even browning, and keeps cleanup easy. If you've struggled with soggy low-carb bakes before, a properly preheated oven and parchment are your best friends. Make the dough. Add mozzarella, Parmesan, almond flour, cream cheese, egg, and salt to a bowl. If you're using herbs or spices, mix them in now so the flavor distributes evenly. Stir with a spatula until clumps disappear. Switch to clean hands and knead gently for 30 to 45 seconds. You're aiming for a smooth, cohesive dough that's soft but not tacky. If it feels too sticky, sprinkle a teaspoon of almond flour. If it feels dry, add 1 teaspoon of water and knead again. Roll it out. Place the dough between 2 sheets of parchment. Roll from the center outward, turning the sheet a quarter turn every few strokes to keep the thickness even. Target 2 to 3 millimeters. Thinner equals crispier, thicker leans crunchy chewy. If the parchment slides on the counter, lightly dampen the surface under the bottom sheet. It grips instantly. Score the crackers. Peel off the top parchment. Use a pizza cutter to score a grid into small squares or rectangles. You don't need to separate them yet. Prick each square once with a fork. This venting step prevents bubbles and keeps the surface flat and professional looking. Bake. Slide the parchment with the scored dough onto the tray. Bake 25 to 30 minutes, rotating the tray at the 15-minute mark for even color. Start checking at 24 minutes. Look for edges deepening to golden and the surface losing any glossy look. If some edges brown faster, remove those pieces with tongs and return the rest for 2 to 3 minutes more. Cool for crunch. Transfer the parchment to a wire rack and cool 5 to 10 minutes. This is when the texture snaps into place. If you like ultra crisp, switch off the oven and return the crackers for 3 minutes with the door cracked open. Residual heat drives off extra moisture. Serving ideas that fit weight loss goals. Pair with cucumber slices and cream cheese. Top with smoked salmon and a thin smear of Greek yogurt. Scoop guacamole or a yogurt herb dip. Crumble over salads for crunch instead of croutons. Because they're satisfying in small amounts, portion control becomes effortless. Why these work for a leaner, steadier day? With essentially zero net carbs and a balance of protein and fat, these crackers help avoid rapid blood sugar swings. Stable energy means fewer crashes and fewer snack spirals. Many people find that a small portion, 5 to 7 squares, keeps them satisfied for hours, especially when paired with protein or fiber-rich vegetables. Flavor variations. Pick one per batch or split the dough in halves. Garlic and herb. 1 teaspoon garlic powder plus 1 teaspoon Italian herbs. Chili lime. Half a teaspoon chili flakes plus fine zest of 1/2 lime. Everything style. Sprinkle a classic, everything, seasoning on top before baking. Smoked paprika. Half a teaspoon smoked paprika for warm depth. Lemon pepper. Zest of 1/2 lemon plus 1/4 of a teaspoon cracked black pepper. Cheddar boost. Replace half the Parmesan with sharp cheddar. Sesame crunch. Press 1 tablespoon sesame seeds over the surface. Rosemary sea salt. 1 teaspoon crushed dried rosemary plus a pinch of flaky salt after baking. Troubleshooting and pro tips. Chewy instead of crisp. Roll thinner and bake a minute longer. Cool fully before storing. Too salty? Reduce added salt next time. Parmesan brings plenty. Uneven color? Rotate the tray. Every oven has hot spots. Oily patches? Lower the rack 1 level or use part skim cheeses. Stale next day? Re-crisp on a tray at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 150 degrees Celsius, for 3 to 4 minutes. Storage and meal prep. Once cool, store in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 4 days, or refrigerate up to a week. For longer storage, freeze portions in zipper bags and thaw on the counter. Then re-crisp briefly in the oven. They stay crunchy if you avoid warm, humid air while storing. Air fryer option. Roll and score as usual. Air fry at 320 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius, for 10 to 14 minutes, checking from minute 9. Because airflow is intense, color develops faster. Remove any pieces that brown early and continue with the rest. Let's add quick nutrition context per 6 to 8 crackers, approximate, depends on size, about 120 to 150 calories, roughly 9 to 11 grams fat, 9 to 12 grams protein, and essentially 0 to 2 grams net carbs. This makes them satiating without the crash you'd get from wheat-based snacks. Now, let's zoom into the why behind each component so you can tweak confidently. Mozzarella provides melt and structure. It turns elastic with heat, letting the dough set into a cohesive sheet. Parmesan adds sharp flavor and browns beautifully because of its lower moisture, contributing to crunch. Almond flour brings body without starch, keeping net carbs near 0 and adding a gentle nuttiness that pairs with both savory and fresh toppings. The egg binds and firms during baking. Cream cheese softens the crumb so the bite feels rich rather than brittle, and it helps the dough roll cleanly without cracking. If you want a dairy-light version, you can reduce the cheese by 20% and add 1 extra tablespoon of almond flour. The texture will be slightly less glass crisp and more delicately crunchy. Fully dairy-free alternatives are possible with dairy-free cheese shreds, but they vary widely. Do a half-batch test first and expect to extend bake time by 2 to 4 minutes. Texture controls you can use like dials, thickness, oven rack position, and cooling time. Thinner dough plus higher rack equals faster browning and crisp edges. Thicker dough plus middle rack equals more toothsome crunch. Short cool equals flexible, full cool equals snap. Once you make one batch, you'll know exactly which setting gives your favorite bite. Make it a mini meal. Build snack plates with protein and fiber, turkey roll-ups, tuna salad with celery, cottage cheese with cherry tomatoes, or a few olives with sliced bell peppers. You'll keep calories reasonable while feeling genuinely satisfied. No diet misery, just real food that tastes good. Hosting? Turn these into canapés. Top with herbed ricotta and a sliver of roasted pepper, whipped goat cheese with a dot of pesto, or a thin cucumber ribbon and dill. Because the base is neutral savory, it plays well with bright, fresh flavors and also with bolder, smoky toppings. If you love data and repeatable results, note these markers. The dough should pull cleanly from the bowl. The rolled sheet should show faint specks of parmesan. Edges turn golden first. The center loses shine near minute 26 to 28. The aroma shifts from dairy sweet to toasty nutty. Pull 60 to 90 seconds after that aroma change for peak crispness. Frequently asked questions. Q. Can I use coconut flour? A. No, it absorbs too much moisture and turns the dough crumbly. Stick to almond flour or finely ground peanuts. Q. Can I replace the egg? A. Try 1 tablespoon ground flax plus 2 tablespoons water, rested 5 minutes. Texture will be slightly denser. Q. Can I make them without cream cheese? A. Yes. Add 1 teaspoon olive oil and watch the last 2 minutes of baking. Q. How do I keep the edges from burning? A. Trim thin edges and remove early or fold edges inward before rolling to even the thickness. Q. Can I double the recipe? A. Yes. Bake on 2 trays with racks set in the upper and middle positions. Rotate and swap racks at the halfway mark. If you're using these crackers for weight loss, here's a simple strategy. Plate your portion, 7 or 8 pieces, with a protein or veggie dip, then put the rest away. Snack mindfully. Take a bite, set the cracker down, and sip water or tea between bites. This slows the pace, enhances satisfaction, and helps you stop exactly where you planned. Let's recap the workflow so you can do this on autopilot. Preheat oven. Mix all ingredients in one bowl. Knead briefly. Roll between parchment to 2 to 3 millimeters. Score and vent. Bake 25 to 30 minutes. Cool on a rack. Season or re-crisp if you like extra snap. Store airtight once cool. That's it. One clean process, repeatable every week. If you want to batch prep, make 2 sheets at once. While the first bakes, roll the second. Keep flavorings different so the week never feels repetitive. Label containers with the variation and bake date. Your future self, standing in front of the fridge at 4 p.m., will thank you. Finally, taste test. Break 1 cracker in half near your ear, you should hear a clean snap. Taste for salt while they're still warm. If you crave a brighter finish, add a dusting of lemon zest or a pinch of flaky salt. Let the rest cool completely before storing to preserve that perfect texture. Healthy eating isn't about restriction, it's about design. You design your environment, your habits, and your go-to options. A tray of zero-carb crackers on the counter changes the decision you make at 4 p.m. From grab chips because they're there, to choose the crunch that fits your plan. It's a tiny shift that compounds into real results. Make this once, and you'll have a reliable template for savory, crunchy satisfaction any day of the week. If this helped, save the recipe, share it with someone who loves a good crunch, and keep building your healthy routine one delicious choice at a time.